ever lived here. Then, in 1462, Ribeira Grande became the first European city in the tropics, claimed by Portuguese settlers, but built by enslaved Africans. What took shape between them would reshape the entire Atlantic world. The location chosen for this outpost was the southern coast of Santiago, the largest island in the Cape Verde archipelago. Known today as Cidade Velha, the site was selected for its natural advantages. The island lacked any native population, allowing the crown to claim it without conflict. More importantly, it sat directly along the sailing routes to the West African coast. Settlers targeted a low valley carved by the Ribeira principal stream, where steep volcanic cliffs sheltered ships from ocean winds. Here, a steady supply of fresh water and rich soils provided the rare practical conditions needed to sustain a permanent community. This secure anchorage served as an essential stepping stone for Portuguese fleets sailing south toward the Gulf of Guinea. To build a functional hub in this empty harbor, the Portuguese crown dispatched a targeted group of mariners, administrators, and planters. King Afonso V issued a royal charter in 1462 to establish formal legal authority over the territory, followed by a 1466 charter that granted settlers exclusive trading rights along the West African coast. These decrees turned the remote valley into an organized staging port, giving local leaders the right to collect taxes and distribute land. The primary objective was economic utility. The town functioned as a resupply station for fleets carrying gold, while planters initiated agricultural experiments along the riverbanks, testing sugarcane crops in the damp volcanic soil. Every street and structure served a calculated commercial purpose, securing the crown's financial and strategic interests in the southern Atlantic. Portuguese ships began transporting enslaved Africans from the nearby West African coast shortly after the first settlers landed. Shipping logs and customs records from the late 15th century document these early arrivals, tracking the captains and the duties paid on human cargo. This forced workforce translated the crown's grand colonial designs into physical reality. Enslaved laborers cleared the thick, wild vegetation of the river valley, carved out the first irrigation channels, and carried heavy volcanic stone up the steep slopes to lay the town's physical foundations. They built the early cisterns, the harbor wharves, and the modest stone brick quarters. Alongside this construction, daily survival in the isolated outpost depended on their constant labor. They planted and harvested the experimental sugar-cane fields, grew cotton and indigo, and ran the domestic households and craft workshops. Skeletal remains from early burial sites show the extreme physical strain of this daily work. From the earliest years, the daily operations of Ribeira Grande relied entirely on this enslaved population, whose labor built the infrastructure of the empire's first tropical port. By the late 15th century, the physical layout of Ribeira Grande mirrored its rigid social order. Archaeological excavations reveal a sharp divide in the town's structure. Elite stone residences and administrative offices stood high on the hills surrounding the central Praça do Pilar, physically separated from the crowded peripheral quarters near the harbor, where enslaved laborers lived in basic stone brick dwellings. Maintaining this division required strict enforcement. Court records from the municipal junta show that the colonial administration treated runaway laborers as criminals. In 1487, a planter named Manuel de Almeida reported 3 escaped workers. Once captured, the court sentenced them to 4 dozen lashes. By 1495, a royal decree formalized these public floggings to deter resistance, securing the town as a tightly controlled colonial system. Within the crowded harbor quarters and shared workspaces of the valley, a new communicative world began to take shape. Enslaved laborers arriving from the Senegambia and Sierra Leone coasts brought their own languages, primarily Wolof, Mandinka, and Timna. In the markets, fields, and households, these West African tongues met the Portuguese of the settlers. This daily contact forced a practical compromise. By blending Portuguese words with the grammatical structures of the African substrates, the inhabitants of Ribeira Grande constructed a shared speech. This early contact language functioned as a practical tool for daily survival. As the settlement grew permanent, daily life shifted past basic maritime trade. Portuguese settlers and African women formed mixed households, establishing domestic routines and family structures that challenged the rigid legal divisions of the port. At the wooden chapel of Nossa Senhora de Conceição, built around 1470, religious practices adapted to this forced coexistence. Enslaved people brought ancestral spiritual beliefs from the mainland, blending them with Catholic sacraments to create shared rituals. Through these daily interactions, a Creole identity slowly took root in the valley, shaped by unequal power, cultural adaptation, and the constant struggle to survive. Today, the Creole identity born in these ruins remains vibrant. This outpost reminds us that human resilience outlasts the empires built to exploit it. Share your thoughts below.